How's everyone doing today? I wanted to make a short video to talk about the incident with the security guard in San Antonio who received a nasty surprise in the form of his holstered firearm going off on its own. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are speaking about yet another P320. Sig, what the fuck? Can we just admit that there are issues with this firearm? I'm going to go into what I think the issues are right now with my personal P320, unloaded and empty. I'm sure by now, if you're watching this video, you've probably seen other videos out there of people doing things to manipulate the trigger and wiggle the slide back and forth, sometimes a combination, and producing failures and unintentional discharges simulated in this circumstance, where you can hear the firing pin going forward. So let's dive into what I think is going on when this happens. To do so, we're going to have to understand the parts and how they fit together. So let's start with the firing pin itself. You can see here we have this little hook mechanism. That is the bottom of our firing pin. When you rack around, you pull the slide back and let it back forward. This pulls back and catches on the sear. Now, the sear is this piece of metal right here. And if you look at it from another angle, you can see that that has a lip right there where the hook from the firing pin catches. And when you pull the trigger, you can see the sear drops down, releasing the firing pin. Now, there's a couple other mechanisms at play here that I feel are important to this. First is this little lever right here. Without that lever being pressed into the slide, this firing pin cannot slide all the way forward. And I'm going to show you what that looks like inside the chamber. So I'm pressing forward. You can see the hole for the firing pin. Nothing's happening, right? I press down on this, press forward. Oh, what do we got there? Firing pin. So let's go back to the fire control module and see if we can figure out what presses that lever. So if we look here, I'm going to put pressure on the trigger, and I see a couple of things moving. And I think what we're going to be looking at is going to be this right here. You can see that part is fairly loose, and when there's no pressure on the trigger, that part still has some play in it. Matter of fact, I don't know if y'all can hear that, but that part, it wiggles around quite a bit. I don't particularly care for how much that wiggles around. Everything y'all may have noticed, I have not been able to get my particular P320 to do a failure, simulated or otherwise. And I do think there are two reasons for that. One is maybe I just got one that didn't have those particular quality control issues, and I like external safeties. A lot of people don't. A lot of people really, really think that, hey, that is going to be a detriment if I am in a self-defense situation. Look, I've always said the number one rule for firearms carry is you carry what you are comfortable with, and you get comfortable through training. So I'm used to this. I've carried 1911s for years. I have 2 on my desk. Again, unloaded. This is actually another Sig. It's a Sig Emperor Scorpion. And the other one sitting right next to me is another 1911. It is the Para Black Ops. So I think a external safety and the trigger disconnect that comes with that is going to play a big role in the safety of this firearm. But the main issue I think is happening with a lot of these is fitment between the slide and the fire control unit. If you have a lot of slop between the two, that, in my opinion, is a recipe for the types of unintentional discharges that we've seen. I don't know this for certain because I only have one P320. If anybody wants to send me one that has failed, I would love to take a look at it and confirm whether or not that is the issue. I would like to see a difference between mine, which hasn't had the issue, and one that has. So if anybody would like to see that, please reach out to me and let me know. But yeah, I think your issue with that is going to be the fitment between the slide and the fire control module. One other potential issue it could be is underneath that trigger sear, there are 2 springs that push up on it that keep it in place when the trigger's not pressed. I think if those springs weaken, then the sear may not be fully engaged, which could exacerbate the issue with play. All in all, Sig, stop gaslighting us and telling us there's not a problem. We know there's a problem. Just own up to it and fix it. Hopefully, y'all have a great day and a happy Thanksgiving. Peace out.